new Railtour had just arrived on the island. Its engine had a large green dome and one big drive wheel like Emily. Later, the engine was talking to James when Emily arrived. "Who's this?" asked Emily.
"Hello there, fellow single,"
said the visiting engine.
"I am Achilles."
"Achilles was just telling me about how fast he can go," said James.
"Ah, yes," Achilles said. "Our speed is why my brothers and I did passenger work back in our day. It's due to our large drive wheels and inside cylinders, you see."
He looked at Emily.
"You probably wouldn't know much about that, would you, sister?"
Emily frowned. "Why is that? We have the same configuration, and I can go at a fair speed on my passenger duties."
"Not with that side rod of yours," Achilles said. "All that friction it causes can slow an engine down."
"So you say," Emily huffed. James sniggered quietly.
"And you're even worse, my scarlet friend," Achilles sniffed. "Your cylinders may be inside, but those 2 extra drivers will slow you down for sure. Take my advice to get them scrapped and get a big wheel like me."
James went redder than ever. "I won't stay here to be insulted," and he huffed away. "That was rude," chuffed Emily.
"What can I say?" said Achilles. "Not every engine can handle the truth."
That night in the shed, James wouldn't stop complaining about Achilles. "That visible engine caught me slow," he harped. "Fancy him telling me my 6 wheels and rods make me a slow engine."
"Oh, shut up, James," said Gordon. "Maybe he's got a point. You should get rid of those extra wheels."
"No, I won't. I'm perfectly fine," hissed James. "Anyway, by his logic, I'm probably faster than you with your extra wheels and clanking rods." The other engines laughed. Gordon groaned with resentment. The next day, James was getting ready to take a passenger train up the line. Emily came by his side. "Hello, James," she said. "I hope you're not too upset about what Achilles said yesterday." "Well, I still am," James admitted. "Honestly, I'd like to see him do better." Achilles pulled up next to the 2 engines.
"Maybe I should," he said. "What do you say? I'll show you how we do things on the mainland, old chap."
James begrudgingly agreed. The 2 engines then asked their drivers, and when they said yes, Achilles was coupled up to the coaches. But when Achilles applied his brakes, an awful creak came from his wheels. James and Emily stared. Achilles glanced around.
"That's never happened before,"
Achilles thought to himself. "Problems?" asked Emily.
"Oh, no, said Achilles. "Everything's fine."
Just then the guard blew his whistle. Achilles puffed away with the coaches twittering behind. "That creak didn't seem normal," said Emily. "I hope it doesn't cause any trouble," said James. Later that day, Emily had stopped at the station with a goods train for the docks when she saw Achilles coming. As he stopped at the platform, the creak came again, but this time it was louder than before. "Are you sure you're all right?" asked Emily.
"Oh, never better,"
Achilles said, trying not to sound so worried.
"I feel great. May I ask where that train of yours is headed?"
"The docks," said Emily. "And let me guess, you want to take it so you can show me how great you are."
"You've read my mind, my dear," said Achilles.
Soon the arrangements were made, and off went Achilles with Emily's train for the docks. Achilles sped down the track. His wheels whirred as he ran along the line. Soon he approached a signal telling him to slow down. Then there was trouble. Something snapped when the driver applied the brakes, and they wouldn't come on.
"Peep, peep! Brakes, guard!"
Achilles whistled to the guard, but the brake van couldn't stop the train by itself.
Help! Help!
Yelled Achilles.
I can't stop! I can't stop!
On, faster, faster! Yelled the stupid trucks as they surged Achilles forward. Achilles entered the dockyard and saw a set of buffers coming straight towards him.
Oh no!
Achilles shouted and shut his eyes. Achilles crashed through the buffers and slid through the grass and came to a rest on the lighthouse rock. Luckily, no one was hurt, but Achilles was battered and beaten. James brought the breakdown train and the workmen to clear the mess. The Fat Controller and the Railtour manager came to inspect the damage.
I do not mind visiting engines helping out on my railway, said the Fat Controller, but I expect them to not cause confusion or delay.
We shall have to pay for these damages and for your repairs, said the Railtour manager. Perhaps it'll teach you not to be so careless.
I'm sorry, sirs,
said Achilles. He felt miserable. An inspector was looking over Achilles.
Here's the problem, he said. The brake rigging was worn and practically disintegrated.
Well, said the Fat Controller, I suppose that was your, Achilles' heel. You must go to the works to be mended.
Yes, sir,
pouted Achilles. It took a while to repair Achilles, so a diesel had to take the Railtour train back to the main road. When he was repaired and ready to go home, James and Emily came to see him off. Achilles spoke.
I'm sorry I was so boastful, he sighed. I guess I'm not so perfect after all. The great Achilles is great no more.
Rubbish, said James. We're all useful in our own way, no matter what we're made of. That's right, said Emily. No two ends are bit the same, brother. Achilles smiled, and with that he headed for home.